Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Doug Proffitt. Shay is off tonight. Well, this is thrilling news that we actually have some rain in the area. So let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine on who's getting it right now. Ben, I can see you're shaking. You're so excited.
Some precious raindrops happening mainly in southern Indiana. That's where most of it will stay for today. Better chance for more of us to see that rainfall tomorrow and especially tomorrow night. It looks like just a small chance of an isolated shower over metro Louisville, but most of it's going to stay again north of Interstate 64 over parts of southern Indiana. The heaviest rain coming down in Lawrence County around Bedford and Mitchell. So you don't have that rain just yet, Mitchell, but it's on the way with that slow moving thunderstorm. Nothing severe out of this, just some heavy rain and some lightning and thunder. And up Interstate 65 north of Scottsburg, we get another little shower there and some light rain around the Seymour area. That's about it. Unsettled weather is still circulating around this area of low pressure to our northwest. That'll slide a little bit closer and give us some increasing rain chances over the next day to day and a half. So Futurecast shows any of those showers fading away as we kind of lose some of that daytime heating here after sunset. An isolated shower possible overnight, but mostly dry, and most areas will be dry out the door in the 60s tomorrow morning. Can't rule out a couple of sprinkles or a light rain shower. A little better chance of some spotty downpours tomorrow afternoon, especially for areas off to the east of I-65, but that highest chance of more widespread rain is going to come our way late tomorrow night and into early Thursday. So we'll look forward to that. Right now, very warm out there. Summer-like 87 degrees. Humidity still pretty low at 35%. Isolated shower for tonight. Your forecast low temperature 64, mid-70s at lunchtime tomorrow with a mostly cloudy sky and about a 40% chance of that shower tomorrow with a high of 82. Again, we'll time out some more of this rainfall that we really need across the area coming up in our complete forecast in a few minutes. Doug.
There you see it, and what may be a first for a sitting American president, Joe Biden joining striking union workers on the picket line in Michigan this afternoon, telling them their demands for higher wages and better benefits deserve to be met. Well, Louisville UAW workers with Ford's two big plants are not on the picket line. They have not yet been called out to strike. In the past, President Biden has called himself the most pro-union president, and today he stood shoulder to shoulder with union workers in Michigan in an effort to prove that.
Wall Street didn't build the country, the middle class built the country. Unions built the middle class.
UAW demanding a 40% increase in wages and better benefits, which they claim is in line with what the CEOs of the big three, GM, Ford, and Stellantis, have received over the past 4 years. Meantime, back to Louisville's Ford workers. This was the scene last week. Our UAW workers held another practice picket and rallies to show their solidarity with the strikes. And they say if called upon, they will not hesitate to walk out. But the more than 12,000 union workers at the Louisville Ford Assembly Plant and the Kentucky Truck Plant in the East End are not currently on strike. When UAW President Shawn Fain announced on Friday the union would be expanding their strikes, the expansion only targeted GM and Stellantis locations and not Ford, he said, because Ford is, quote, serious about reaching a deal. That's according to Fain. More on the president's visit to Michigan coming up from ABC's World News Tonight right here at 6:30. In Washington, the House of Representatives is back in session today after taking a long weekend. There are now just 5 days left to pass several spending bills to keep the government from shutting down. There's still no deal in sight for Republicans in Congress to keep the government funded as a shutdown looms Saturday at midnight. Speaker Kevin McCarthy telling reporters he thinks he's got a plan to avert a shutdown.
We're sitting here on a deadline, having 72% of it done, 0% done inside the Senate, that the biggest challenge I see right now that can be fixing some of these problems is the border.
Any spending bills in the House also need to pass the Senate before reaching the president's desk, and the Senate may soon introduce their own short-term spending bill to keep the government open. So right now here at 5, we're taking a closer look at how a shutdown would possibly impact Kentuckiana. WHAS11's Alex Dieterer is joining us with those who are watching this very closely. Alex?
Yeah, Doug, to put it in a local perspective, over 100,000 Kentuckians received benefits through the WIC program back in 2022, and over 500,000 use SNAP benefits. That's according to the USDA. Those benefits now at risk if Congress can't come to a compromise. The last time the U.S. saw a federal government shutdown was back in 2018. That lasted 34 days. But for those who rely on federal assistance, like SNAP and WIC benefits, even one day has serious impacts.
It's really hard to prepare. The best thing we can do is know that this is coming.
The Neighborhood House Food Pantry in Louisville gave out 400 boxes of food to people just last month. And the Director of Development, Jesse Whittish, expects a sharp increase of people using their services once the word gets out about the risk to their WIC and SNAP benefits.
Benefits are at risk. Of course, that's going to make parents wonder, how am I going to feed my kids? What am I going to do? And as soon as that happens, I know that we are going to start getting questions.
If a shutdown does happen, people who rely on SNAP benefits would receive them through October, but after that is unknown. The USDA says WIC benefits would dry up in a few days, leaving it up to the states to fund the program.
If WIC benefits go away, if SNAP benefits go away, we know that we will see more families here looking to get supplies.
The worry for local food pantries like Neighborhood House, how to keep the shelves stocked.
Hopefully the kids don't realize this shortage, but we know that their parents do. So even though we mostly see the kids in this building, we know that they have caring grown-ups who are thinking about this kind of thing all the time.
If a federal government shutdown does happen, food banks won't be able to place new orders, and some of their existing deliveries would be disrupted. Congress did reconvene today after having Monday off for Yom Kippur.
Alex, thank you very much. Lawmakers in the House and Senate have until the end of Saturday at midnight, to reach a compromise on a dozen bills that would eventually fund our government. Right now, Kentucky House Republicans are sounding the alarm over Louisville's violent crime. Tonight, they've been outlining an extensive plan that they say will reduce homicides and make for a safer city. They've been joined by law enforcement today. Isaiah Kim Martinez and photojournalist Addie Hill are live at the River City FOP Lodge to break this down. Isaiah, I am curious, with police departments so short, many times in hundreds of positions, how do the police officers think that they'll be able to accomplish this?
Well, it's something lawmakers, Doug, didn't have a clear answer for, and this is all part of what they call the Safer Kentucky Act. It's an 18-part proposal, of course, like you said, trying to combat the city's violence. It's primarily split up into two concepts: preventative action, which of course includes police patrols, and then on the other side, punishments within the criminal justice system. Now, first, we do want to talk about what lawmakers proposed specifically for here in Louisville, and that's a Kentucky State Police post. Sounds familiar? It's because Attorney General Daniel Cameron, Republican nominee for governor, has brought this up as well. Now, they also want to heighten penalties for charges like attempted murder and carjacking. Another interesting element here, they want to amend state law to allow private citizens to buy confiscated guns put up for auction, but strictly in order to have them destroyed by KSP. The bill is still in the early stages of being drafted. Representative Jared Bauman, who will be its primary sponsor here, he represents PRP in Valley Station.
We remain committed to taking serious and meaningful action to support the restoration of stability in society by supporting Kentucky families, supporting our law enforcement, and ensuring that our great Commonwealth has the strongest policy possible to hold criminals accountable for their actions.
Now, 7 different lawmakers from here in Jefferson County will have their name on this bill, which again still has a long way to go. Nothing set in stone for right now, including more public input before it's officially filed for the 2024 legislative session. Again, a lot of details to be ironed out. I did ask about the officers shortage and how that could potentially impact how this plan may work. Representative Bauman didn't have a direct answer for my question on that. I did also ask him if it's possible this very large bill could get whittled down when it's all said and done. He says it's the opposite. He says he actually sees it growing in provisions as we get closer to 2024. Doug?
Okay, Isaiah, thank you very much. At the River City FOP Lodge tonight, former Kentucky Governor Brereton Jones, the Democrat, was laid to rest today. His funeral was held at the Forks of Elkhorn Baptist Church in Midway, Kentucky. Afterwards, he was buried during a private ceremony. Brereton Jones died Monday, September 18th, at the age of 84, after what his family describes as a lengthy illness. He was the 58th governor of the state of Kentucky, serving from 1991 to 1995.
When you think of all the accomplishments that he did, you'll invariably miss some because he did so much. Driving out here to the church, I was thinking of all the farms he developed the different names he had, how close he was to his family. He was so dynamic. We're fortunate to have had him, and I'm very fortunate to have called him my friend.
Current Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear directed flags at half-staff today in honor of Brereton Jones. Today, a Butchertown brewery hosting a fundraiser to help the family of Jake Luxemburger, who was tragically killed after a suspect being chased by Kentucky State Police crashed into his grandmother's car in Oldham County. The brewery put a special edition of beer on sale today, a cookies and cream flavored stout. It's one of the family's favorites. The bottle shows the family with big lettering saying "For Jake." Within 3 minutes, it all sold out, and the proceeds are going to the family.
I just don't want them to have to worry about those, anything else. They've got enough going on, enough emotions going on. I didn't want them to have to worry about money, or funeral expenses and that kind of thing. So, I don't know, it's a small thing, but it's something.
The brewery raised $1,400 in just 3 minutes. And a developing story we're following, a huge win in the courtroom today in Louisville for the former CEO of the Louisville Urban League. A judge has ruled that Dr. Kish Kumi Price's lawsuit can now continue. Dr. Price alleges she was unjustly fired for looking into the nonprofit's finances just a few months after her first day on the job. The Urban League filed a motion to dismiss the suit, but that motion was denied today. Circuit Court Judge Melissa Logan Bellows says Price was only doing what state law required her to do as the CEO of a nonprofit. Judge Bellows says Price will need to have proof of wrongdoings to get a summary judgment. LMPD has arrested a woman in connection to last night's shooting in the Shelby Park neighborhood that left one woman dead. LMPD says they got the call for a shooting on East Oak Street around 7:15 yesterday evening. This is very close to the Germantown neighborhood as well. When they got there, they found a woman who had been shot in the parking lot of a business. She died at the scene. LMPD says they've arrested 59-year-old Kenise Phoenix. The arrest citation says surveillance video shows Phoenix shooting the woman and then leaving the scene there at the liquor store. Police say they executed a warrant of Phoenix's home and found the same clothing she wore in the video, as well as ammunition that matched the shell casing found at the scene. Phoenix is currently charged with murder. In another homicide arrest, a suspect is in custody for facilitating the murder of Ashley Yates in eastern Jefferson County. She was shot and killed in the parking lot of the Westport Village Shopping Center in June. Today, police arrested 38-year-old James Boer Jr. According to the arrest citation, Boer helped provide Zachary Hines with information about Yates's whereabouts that day. Hines was Yates's former boyfriend, and police considered him the main suspect in her death. Police tell us Hines then took his own life the next day. Boer Jr., however, is expected to be in court tomorrow morning. In a tragedy this morning, as a woman was killed on Lexington Road at Penwood in the Crescent Hill area. Officers said it happened just before 7 when a car heading east on Lexington Road struck a woman crossing the road. She died at University Hospital. This happened right across the street, by the way, from Sacred Heart Academy. We contacted the school today, and they say there was no connection to the school. Nobody from their school was impacted in this. Parents and staff were notified, and drop-off was rerouted this morning. We know the driver, though, remained at the scene, and LMPD, the traffic unit, is handling the case.